Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley Cole.
I'm Seth Stubman. Yeah, it's great. We're here starting the show off. Last night we went out and we saw Yahoo, a great singer-songwriter. We saw some Mass Appeal viewers there. So
met some new friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, our friend, personal chef Bill Collins, who we're in the kitchen with right now. You love him as well.
Yes. Big fan.
We're big fans of him. I'm also a big fan of your cooking.
Well, thank you.
So speaking of fans, let's talk about your cooking and what you're going to make today.
Yes, well, you know, New Year's is right around the corner. And what we've got today are some really very simple, straightforward to make appetizers, so you don't have to spend all day in the kitchen, because a lot of people like to have a few friends over and bring in the new year. So we've got 3 things we're doing today. We're going to be starting out with a boneless barbecue pork rib. And all the foods today are, as always, from our great friends at Whole Foods in Hadley.
Thank you.
And I'm starting out with country-style boneless pork ribs. Now, these are not to be confused with a regular barbecue pork rib with the bone in. Comes from just a little bit higher, so it's not quite the same thing. They just call them that. So just in name only is it a pork rib. It's kind of like a loin thing, but we can go into the details. Oh, maybe never.
Is it cheaper than a tenderloin, though?
Yes.
On the whole, so good. You can get this maybe instead of pork tenderloin.
Yep. And so what you do is you can get them boneless, and they'll cut them for you. The butcher shops will take care of that for you. And so what you want to do is, you see, it looks just like a rib. That's how it comes. So what I've done, I've already done the first step here. And I've taken a dry rub, and I made a dry rub. And all the recipes are on the Mass Appeal website. But this dry rub, it's ingredients you have in your home. Salt, pepper, brown sugar, paprika, and a little cumin.
Got it all.
If you don't have cumin, maybe a little chili powder. Just something to give it a little bit of a bite.
What if you don't have paprika? I was going to make a recipe the other day, called for paprika, didn't have it, didn't know what to substitute it with.
What were you making?
Now I forget.
That's
A
good.
chicken.
It was a chicken.
Well, you know, one of the things, I always put paprika on my chicken because it's not super flavorful paprika, not the chicken. And so what that does is it kind of gives you some color, and it's a nice way to go. I mean, there is some flavor to it. You can skip it, and
so it's not the end of the world if you skip it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So not a terrible thing. What I like about it is it gives it some color, adds volume to it, and so it's nice to put in a dry rub. So what I did was I took the pork ribs, and I literally, it's called a rub. You rub it around on all sides of the pork, popped in the oven 350, about 20-25 minutes. Don't want it to finish cooking all the way through. So maybe pull it out about 140 degrees internal temperature. Can even go less than that. The second step is I've got the barbecue sauce. It's a homemade barbecue sauce. Apparently, you can buy barbecue sauce in jars. Who knew?
I did, and that's how I go. But if you can make your own, why not, right?
Exactly. And so I just have a little tangy, zesty barbecue sauce. And I pop this back in the oven, just brush a little bit on, and pop it back in the oven about 375, about 4 or 5 minutes. And it just gives it a little bit more flavor, a little bit more zing, and a bit of crustiness to it.
Now, I know you make your own because you make your own lots of things, but for everybody at home, you know, like Ashley and I, is it worth it? Like, I'll never make my own ketchup. I'm always going to buy ketchup.
Sure.
Is it worth making your own barbecue sauce?
I do like it because I like the flavor. This particular one, there's some terrific barbecue sauces out there, but this one, it's a little bit zingy because it's got fresh ginger in it. It's a little bit sweet because I've got some brown sugar and molasses and ketchup in it.
It's tailor-made in a way.
It really is. It's got a little bit bite just from the ginger and some balsamic vinegar, so it really has all these flavor things going on with it. And the thing is, all you'd have to do is throw the ingredients in together, simmer it for about 15 minutes, and that's it. So it doesn't have to simmer for hours, doesn't need any exotic ingredients, and it lasts for quite a while in the fridge.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think you've convinced me. As long as it's not something that's going to expire quickly, you make it, you know it's going to last a while.
Exactly, and that just makes it easier, so you can go for many weeks in the summer or even this time of year when you're doing the appetizers. So
perfect.
It lasts for quite a while.
Now, Chef Bill, we're going to be finishing this dish up, but give us a little preview. What are we going to make later in the show?
After that, spanakopita, it's a traditional Greek, they come in big pie size or little individual ones. We're doing one so you don't have to make phyllo dough, put them in little phyllo cups that you can buy. And then a classic 1960s appetizer of a cheese ball.
A cheese ball.
Classic cheese ball.
All right.
Can't wait for New Year's Eve.
Yep, it's going to be a fun one.
Appetizers. Thanks so much, Bill. We'll be back with you in just a bit.
Thanks. Welcome back to Mass Appeal. Now we are back with Chef Bill Collins. We're making a dish that's easy to make, difficult to pronounce. Spanakopita?
Yes, close
Okay.
enough.
Yeah,
Yes. No,
I'll take it.
actually, that's exactly what it is.
Really?
Yes, you hit it
My Greek
exactly.
teacher would be proud.
Exactly. Now, with traditional spanakopita, what you do is you either make a big pie-sized one or a big sheet pan, or you can make little individual ones. You've seen them in little triangles of the phyllo dough, and you fold them up. We're going to skip all of those steps.
Okay.
because you can buy actually phyllo cups. It's the same phyllo dough.
So it's like it's a puff pastry, basically.
No, actually, it's different from puff pastry. Puff pastry actually puffs up, and it's very rich. It's got all kinds of butter and great things. And it's got all these little flaky layers. But this is the little flat sheets of phyllo dough, but this is just multiple sheets put together. And the great thing about this is, especially if you're uncomfortable making these with using phyllo dough, you can use the cups, but also it's much faster, and you can end up with a great appetizer.
Sounds good to me.
So you'll find these in the frozen section.
Okay.
And so what I did was I took some ricotta cheese, I took some feta cheese, and I took some spinach, frozen spinach, thawed it out, and a little bit of nutmeg. And I just want to show you something about the frozen spinach, because there are two ways of thawing it out. One is, and you can use fresh spinach, but you chop it up and you want to cook it.
But fresh is markedly more expensive too. So in these situations,
and this is faster and easier. But what's going to happen is you can either thaw it in the fridge, or you put it in a bowl of cold water. About half an hour, it'll all thaw out. But here's the thing:
in the wrapper, in the cold water?
No, take it out. But just put the actual spinach itself.
Okay.
So take it out of the wrapper. But either way, when you thaw it out, it's going to end up as there's a lot of water in there. You want this strained out. Now, you can do two steps. One is you pop it into a strainer, and most of it will come out, but it's still going to be very wet. What you want to do is literally just pick it up in your hands and squeeze out.
Look at how much water comes out of that.
See, squeeze out all the excess. Now, this has already been strained through a strainer. So you just kind of squeeze it out, and you can see how much is coming out. Because otherwise, you're going to have a very wet appetizer. So that way, it's perfectly good and ready to go.
So squeeze the heck out of it.
Squeeze the heck out of it. And so then all I did was, the only cooking that was involved up to this point is I sauteed some onions, and that'll take about 15 minutes.
So these, they were kissed by the heat. Do they come like this?
These come like this. This is still in the container that this comes in. They come in low flat boxes. And the reason I keep them in here until I'm ready to bake them off is they got little cups there. They won't be flying around. They're going to be sitting right in their little...
You can dollop right into them.
Exactly.
Let's dollop away.
Let's dollop away.
So this mixture also has, I see these nuts here? No.
No, that's actually, I browned the onions.
Great idea.
But also, I put in just a hint of nutmeg. See, just grated in just a little bit. You want just a little. And that's really all it is. Mix it up, a little salt and pepper, and you're good to go.
Now, going forward, do we pop them in the oven again, or are we done?
Yes, we pop them in the oven, but take them out of the plastic tray. I put them on a sheet pan afterwards, because that will definitely melt.
You only make that mistake once, though.
Exactly, and haven't we all done that? So what you want to do is pop in the oven at 350, not even 10 minutes. You're just warming them through, because there's nothing in there to cook. There's no egg or anything.
Yeah.
You're just make it a little gooier, having the flavors all meld together. And then that's all it is. And you've got this great appetizer. And all of the appetizers today, just 1 or 2 bite size. So you can grab them on a napkin, put a few on a plate. It's easy. You can either pass them around, just put them out, on the platter, and you're good to go. It's that simple to do.
Well, I'm gonna find one, Chef Bill. Cheers! Now later in the show, we're making a cheese ball.
A classic 1960s cheese ball.
Sell this to me, because I've never eaten a cheese ball before. I don't get it. You cut into it, everybody together?
Yes, and the great thing is, it's just something you're smearing a cracker.
Okay, but it's artful.
It's artful, and it's got 4 ingredients, and you look at it and say, that's crazy easy,
All
and the
right.
flavor is just wow.
You've wowed me before. I'm sure you're going to do it again, so don't go anywhere.
No pressure.
And ahead. Welcome back to Matt's. We're back with Chef Bill Collins and Ashley Cole, and we are making a cheese ball.
We are. This is the classic 1960s cheese ball. Now, when you think of cheese ball, you might actually think of like cheese spread. You've had like the classic cheddar cheese spread with the wine in it. Well, this is just another version of it without the wine. So all I've done is I take some cream cheese. I've got some garlic I've already put in there, just 2 cloves of garlic. Don't go crazy on the garlic just because you like garlic, because that's going to make it too garlicky.
He's talking to you, Seth.
Yes.
I don't want it to stare me in the eyes.
I'm not going to name names. And just mix it all up.
What do you just add in?
I just added 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Now, usually I would just do this with my hands, but I think people are watching. So
I think they might be.
You might.
We hope so.
Absolutely
nice.
so. A lot of people are watching. So I'm going to leave that like that, and then throw in the walnuts, mix it all in, stir it all together, and then voila, you end up with, what's that green stuff on top? I rolled it in chopped parsley.
Okay, that answers my question. I thought it was mold at first.
Well, maybe it's mixed in with the parsley.
No, it's
Beautiful,
not.
beautiful mold.
It's good looking mold.
So,
Yeah.
so we've got the 3 appetizers here. Want to just move this out of the way. We've got the cheese ball.
Okay.
With rolled in parsley. It's got walnuts in it. If you've got somebody with a nut allergy, you can skip the walnuts. The thing about the walnuts, they give it flavor, but also add more volume to it. Without the walnuts, it'd be a bit smaller, but it's still really good. But when you make the cheese ball, you want to let it sit overnight. Let the flavors really meld together.
Okay.
And that's really what's going to do it. We've got the pork bites right here. I took the long bits of the boneless country-style pork ribs, and I cut them up into pieces. And here we've got the spanakopita. And one thing I want to mention about the grapes, I didn't make the grapes, but when you put down grapes on a platter, a lot of people don't think about this, but you want to cut them up into little bunches, because what's going to happen is one of your guests is going to go grab a grape, and they're going to pull the whole plate apart, and they're going to go, oops, and they're going to feel bad. This way, if they want a few grapes, they can just take them, and they're good to go.
Everyone's going to give them a dirty look, like, hey, you're taking all the grapes.
And they're going to
ruin
ruin
all
their
the
New
grapes.
Year's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need that.
That's a good tip.
So we have here, and when you do the cheese ball, let it sit out for about an hour or so it can soften up a little bit.
Oh.
And that's
For you?
Sure.
There's a little bit more here, and it's just so easy to do. Serve it with crackers, serve it with or whatever. And so you've got the cheese ball, you've got the pork bites, and again the spanakopita, but you do it in the phyllo cups, and it's just easy. You saw how fast it was for me just to throw everything together. The longest time is sautéing the onions, and you don't even have to do much with that, and then mix it all.
That cheese ball is fantastic. Bill, 3 great appetizers. Thank you so much. If you want a copy of these tasty, tasty recipes, just visit mymassappeal.com. And so now we go from a cheese ball to a paper ball.